Have you ever thought of your business as having hidden opportunities? These are opportunities that go way beyond just selling. Think about it. Here's the question. Are you actually using them or are you losing them for others to take advantage of?
The reps who take advantage see their careers literally explode. The ones who don't are leaving growth and credibility on the table. So today, we're uncovering those hidden opportunities and how the best reps turn them into their competitive edge.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Secrets in Medical Device Sales brought to you by the Girls of Grit. And we are here for another action packed episode, bringing you
Woohoo!
guys more good stuff that we are picking up from the field every single day.
Oh,
And
and this is
today,
good.
this
This
is
is
such
good.
a good one. I know. This is like one of those where you're like, ooh, this is great. And then you're like, oh, yeah, and what about this? So I am so glad that we're talking about this today.
Actually, Lisa, I'm just going to paint you a picture because I
Okay.
just want to dive right into this episode. So maybe the best way to do is just walk you through this. So let's picture it's the first day of training. You've got two sales reps hired into the same company on the same day. So you've got your laptops, you've got all your information, and you're handed everything. You come out of training, it's a week later, and you're told of all these resources that are available to you. Things like clinical trainings, you get signed to mentor, you get marketing decks, you have speaker programs. Like all of a sudden, you're like, wow, look at all these things I have to do. Now, here's what I want you to stop to think about. Are you a rep? Which type of rep are you? I just explained a quick example of what maybe said to you. Here's rep number one. She's really hungry. She's going to sign up for all these trainings. She's self learning. She's calling her mentor. She wants to meet with a product specialist. She's diving into everything from Google. She can't get fed enough. Then there's rep number two. Now, this is a different story. Rep number two thinks, okay, what is the minimum I need to do to get by? If I memorize this and I pass this test, can I do it? Right. And then also, oh, those opportunities, they sound like a lot of work. I'm going to push them back. Same resources, different outcomes. So the $1,000,000 question that I want all of you listeners to think about today is, are you the rep that drains resources your company gives you? Or are you the rep that gains from them and can turn them into huge success and ROI in your business?
I love that story for so many reasons. So it's bringing me back to one of my prior jobs where it was a lot. I had to learn a lot in a little bit of time. It was a brand new field for me, and I knew it was going to be a challenge. I mean, I'm a pretty smart person, but I knew it was going to be a challenge. And that training was hard. It was long. It was like 6 weeks of, I mean, we had to learn everything. So this is like one of my very first medical device jobs, Cindy.
Okay.
And I knew I was smart, but holy cannoli. Like we had to learn like staple heights of the staplers that or the staples that we were putting in patients. I dreamt of numbers. Like it was so tough. And we had a very intense training. And we had people from all over the world. It was international training. And we were at the home office. And I remember one of the trainers said to us, we're going to be here on the weekends for you guys. You can come in and we can work with you. It's kind of like when you're in high school and they're like, we'll stay after school and you can work with the teacher or you can get a tutor or whatever. And it's like, you're tired, right? You're tired, you're exhausted. You've got all these numbers going through your head.
And in your dreams.
And in your dreams, exactly. Half the people are going out to get beers, right? Or going out to get food from Kroger or wherever we were picking up groceries because we were living in the Residence Inn. So half of the people are doing all that. And then here I am, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I really need to learn this. So I'd stay late and I'd work with them until like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And I'd get back and I was exhausted. And we were back up again at 5 a.m. to be there by 6 to like, and it was like this overly, you're putting in all this energy. But I knew, Cindy, if I didn't do it, I wouldn't pass. And then I was like, well, great. Then I might not even have the job. So I guess what I'm getting at is I know not everybody is brand new right now, but the point I'm trying to make is sometimes it is a lot to take care of to take advantage of resources. And we're going to get into like all the different kinds of resources that your company can offer you. But like take advantage of them because you know what? I finished number one in the whole entire company for the training. And the very next day after I got back, I got an email from the CEO of the company commending me on my fact that I beat like people from Turkey and people from India and people from Italy. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. And I kept that email for years. And I actually used it back in the day in brag books. I used it to like show other companies, look, this is me. This is how hard I work. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm a resource hog.
I love it.
I take advantage of every resource, maybe to the nth degree, but I take advantage of it in a good way.
You recognize that you still didn't learn it. And I think maybe that's something people need to ask. You are like, I don't know this. So you ask yourself a question. What do I do about it? Oh, that's right. They told me they have help. So guess what? I am going to take advantage of that. I'm going to take them up on their offer. Some other people may think, I just don't know this. So I just need to like put it down. I'm not saying don't take a break,
slide
but
by.
yeah, just be like, oh, it'll come later, or I'm not going to worry too much about this. I'll memorize what I need to and get by. But you also said something huge. You just said, okay, if I don't do this, I don't pass the test. And then what if I don't have a job? So you have to remember you volunteered yourself to get in front of an interview, beat out other candidates, and sit in this medical device role. So why would you not jump in and be the best that you can be? And I just think some people are wired differently, but you got to understand, these are the moments. These are the moments you ask yourself the tough questions. Do I really want to do this? If it's going to be, if you want the easy road, you can go find, work in an assembly line.
Go work at Walmart.
Work in an assembly line. Go
Or
in
an
every
assembly
day. We
line.
don't have to think. And just
Yeah.
keep doing the same thing for 8 hours over and over. Clock in and clock out and have your evenings. If that's what you want, go for it.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not medical devices or
It's
any
not.
like really hard working industry that we live in these days. All right. So I think we should talk a little bit more about this in terms of all these different resources. So it's not just about the initial training when you join a new company. I mean, this is your entire sales career. There are multiple ways to use multiple different resources. And someone used to like tell me that I was like the squeaky wheel that would always get the resources. And do you know that like it got to a point with this company that my manager was like, hey, Lisa, I actually need to stop giving you resources because everybody else is complaining that you always get like everything. And I'm like, but I ask and I use them. And he's like, I know, but like, I feel bad for the other people now. I'm like, well, that's their fault. I'm the one doing the work.
And you're the one getting the ROI. You do the work, you use the
Exactly.
resources, and you're making
Amazing.
President's Club. I mean,
Yes,
you used your resources in training and we're number one. I mean,
Right.
there's something to be said.
It pays off to use your resources and take advantage. Okay, so you mentioned like trainings, in-house trainings. You know, another big thing that I think we forget, I forget these, are mentors within companies. That's like a big one. I think sometimes, and I know I can even get like this, Cindy, where like, I'm like, I don't want to let them know what I don't know. I don't want to actually let people know that I need help on this. But the truth is when you admit and you're a little vulnerable.
Oh,
I
you
can
said
say
it. That was good.
Thank you. I've been practicing.
She's working. See?
I'm practicing. You know, I think when you take advantage of when somebody offers to help you learn something new, you should take it. It may be a hard thing to do. It may take some time. I mean, there's something new that I'm trying to learn now, and it's like, it's a lot of brain power, but it's important because it's what elevates you to that next level. You're not getting left behind. You're not putting on somebody else. You're in control because this is your business. So I think mentors are so key. And those people come in all shapes and sizes. It doesn't have to be your manager or even a leader in the company. It could be a clinical specialist down the road that just knows how to organize their inbox better, right? Like it's all sorts of different resources.
And I think that that is really key is it's not defined in one certain way. It's not just like you're a trainee and you just have a training mentor. So it's how you reach out to people. Now, I think in all fairness, when you reach out and ask somebody something, many people are more than willing to help. I would say on average, 90% of anybody who's asked for something, they're going to want to help you.
Yeah.
I want to say that at this point, think about what you're asking. Is this something you could figure out yourself? Is this something that they may need to just tell you once? But I think when you have a mentor, that you take an opportunity to say, this is what I need your help doing. And then you show them you took the information they gave you and applied it. Guess what? They're going to want to help you again. I think that like, I want to just take a minute to really point out what an amazing internal resource within your company you can have. And when you treat them with respect in the right way. I think that also another type of like, when I use the word internal, it just made me think of companies. Okay. So talked about training. Let's shift gears. Let's talk about the business itself. And what are some tools that you have? Well, every product costs money. And sometimes it's not an issue. Maybe you're less than your competitors. But think about when maybe you're third to the market. Maybe you're more expensive. Maybe you're more expensive because you really combine the best all in one. Well, maybe some customers are trying to understand how do they bring that to the table. Maybe reimbursements involved because a lot of medical device, certain hospitals go through a whole reimbursement for their products and how it's all paid to them. So many companies have reimbursement specialists or support. So even though maybe it's not just training, you may be able to get help on the whole process of selling your product.
Yeah. And learning more about it. I mean, let's be honest, you really should know every aspect of it, right? From the time
Mhm.
that it's made in manufacturing up until the point of sale. And even after you sell it to the hospital, you need to know that kind of stuff. I think one of the things that I really love to take advantage of, Cindy, are customer dinners, or customer
Oh,
engagements
that's a
of
good
any
one.
kind, right? Like lunches, dinners, coffee. I mean, okay, they take us away from our families. They take us away from time spent with significant others, kids, whatever it is, but they're so important. If
Mm.
you are actually successful in getting a customer out to a dinner, whatever kind of dinner that looks like, and we can talk about this peer to peer stuff as well. But like, if you're successful enough to get a customer to accept a dinner invitation out to talk about your product, take advantage of it because like their time is as precious as yours is. So be excited about that. Accept it. Don't be like, oh, well, I probably should do this or I need to do that. I mean, if you've committed to doing this with your customer, you need to do it. And those things like really pay off. I mean, maybe you're hitting them at a perfect time when your competitor screwed up in a case and you don't know about it. Or maybe the competitor left and they went to a different company. And again, you didn't know about it, but you took the doctor out to dinner and you learn all this new information and you're like, wow, perfect timing, right? Sometimes it's all about timing and persistence, and there's your opportunity. And so I love dinners and lunches with my customers because I really get some good face time. And we're not talking a lot of like hours and hours of a dinner. It can be an hour, it could be 2 hours, but man, those things are so impactful. So I think if your companies allow you to do this, you're able to take your customers out, do it. It is so important.
And you said it. Some people just don't want to do it. And they're thinking, oh, I've got to, again, back to should I take the time to do it? But I have a question for anybody listening. If you have taken a customer to dinner, think about that. Now, tell me, did you learn more at that dinner or did you learn more when you walked into their office? And think about the difference of the type of conversation. What is so cool, and this is truly specific to medical device when I say this, that doctors are so busy, especially if they're operating, or those in a
Mhm.
clinic all day long. Maybe you're going to an OBL and they see patients. They are paid, every 10 minutes are seeing somebody different. So if they get a chance to see you, it's a few minutes. And while you may have very, very productive conversations in a few seconds, think about when they get time to have productive conversations and maybe tell you more. They're relaxed. They don't have to worry about somebody down the hallway hearing what they're saying, or Miss So and so he has to call back, or a surgery that he just happened that maybe was tough, or one that he's about to go do. That understanding the time you get to spend is open doors to the relationship building that's so important to be partners with your customers and the time it allows them to have a deeper conversation, a more meaningful conversation. I can tell you in my history of thinking back to meetings in the office versus meetings, whether they're at a dinner, at a conference, coffee, breakfast downstairs, they're always better when you stepped away a little bit. At least that's
Oh
been
my
my
gosh.
experience.
Absolutely. And in
So,
person beats everything.
so I think before we talk on the flip side of things,
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a good time to talk a little bit about our secret because bringing all these things and examples is just, I want to say what we're actually explaining.
Okay, you say
Okay.
it.
So, our secret today, when we're talking about draining versus gaining leverage with your customers and your resources, is one word, and that is leverage. That I think if you leverage resources within your company, within your industry, within your fingertips of wherever you can get a resource, the ROI back is tremendous. So,
I
the
love that.
secret is leveraging resources to gain your business, I should say.
I love that. So You want to talk about how we do it? I mean, what do you want to do? You want to talk about how we do it? Should we talk about maybe the good kind of resource
Yeah,
hogs, the
let's start with good.
bad kind of resources
Let's talk about
hogs?
good resources. We've already kind of done that, but yeah, let's wrap that up before we
Yeah.
show our Jekyll and Hyde.
Yep, exactly. Like I said, I'll be honest, I'm a huge resource hog. So let's just say I get a list of resources, right? I've got a peer-to-peer dinner, I've got a home office visit, we have industry meetings. These are all good resources, right? How do I apply each of those resources to specific customers? Because
Mm.
sometimes a home office visit may not apply to a certain customer, but it may apply to a different customer, or just from the simple fact that maybe they already went. Or an industry meeting. If I know that a big industry meeting is coming up, I need to find out, first of all, who's going to the meeting? Who are my docs that are going to the meeting and my customers that are going to the meeting? And then from there, then I plan the next resource, which is the dinners or the peer-to-peer meetings or whatever that is, R&D. If I got a guy that's a really big, like he's like a tinker and he's creating a lot of stuff all the time and he's like, Lisa, I got this great idea. I got this great idea. Then my resource to him is going to be setting up a meeting with R&D. And I've already called on the backhand a R&D guy or girl that I know. I've got that meeting kind of started in motion. That's a great way to take advantage of a resource that, by the way, is free to you. That's
Mhm.
free. That's not going to cost you any money, maybe some time, good time, but that's the way that you take advantage of resources smartly.
And I think a good time to think about this is all of us think in quarters, right? Any type of sales that you're in. So you've
Mm.
got Q1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
and 4. So what are you doing at the end of a quarter? Just because of where we are in our months, many of you are probably about to end a quarter because we're ending about a 3-month block that you're thinking, okay, I'm about to end. How am I going to finish? But also you start reflecting what's working, what's not. But then what are you doing? Next quarter, oh no, I got to catch up here. I got to catch up there. What better time to review what resources you have than when you're targeting and planning for your next quarter? So
Such a great point.
this is a
Such a great
gift.
point. Yep.
It's
Such
a
a great point.
gift.
Such a
And
great point, Cindy. It's amazing too, by the way, when you do take advantage of these resources, like how they carry you through
oh,
that next quarter, through that next year, sometimes like way more than you expected that resource to perform for you. You're like, dang it, man, this is still really like the doctor's still talking about the R&D meeting that you did with them 6 months ago, right? Every time you see them in a case, they're like, or a dinner that they did, they bring up the data that was presented at the dinner and they're like, this is why I use your product. That thing is just circulating and circulating over and over again, repeating itself in a good way of how great it was that you used that resource.
in fact, I did a program, it was a peer-to-peer. So we had a physician that had great results, was putting out clinical data for the product. And so came to the city in which I live, and we had like 18 doctors from all around coming to hear him speak because see, I leveraged his name, I leveraged his expertise. And it's like, look, I can walk into the office appointment and I can say, oh, so and so is doing this and that. But you use the resource of peer to peer when they go tell your physicians, hey, this is my
Mm-hmm.
experience. This is what I'm doing. And they get to ask questions. Well, 3 years later, I had one physician even come up and say, I really appreciated you had that. It was a whole dinner program. You brought this person in. And you know what? I remember something about that back to draining, gaining, do I not the work. It was a before Christmas dinner. Now, think about December, how
Wow, that's a
busy you
tough one.
are,
Yeah.
but it's when it would work. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I've got this to do and I've got this dinner coming up. Well, let me just tell you the fact that you put everything aside, put my head down, and use that resource when I needed, I'm so glad I did because 3 years later, they're still commenting on things a physician heard from that doctor. So if you really, really are questioning, I want you to take home this message of just do it. Just
Yeah.
put together, put the effort in, look
Mm-hmm.
into your next quarter. Even if it takes you 6 weeks, plan ahead so you have enough time and do it. It's
Yeah.
so worth it.
I so agree. All right, real quickly, I think we just need to talk about how maybe misusing resources
Yeah.
can actually hurt you. And what do we mean by that, right? Because it's like, I was like, oh, I'm a resource hog. I use them all, whatever. I think what we're talking about here is when you have somebody that, let's just use the mentor or the teacher kind of example.
A good
When you
example.
have somebody that's teaching you, you're going through the motions, you're doing the work with them, but then you're not really applying it and you're not really learning it. You're just kind of leaning on them to do the work kind of for you. And
Mhm.
then you continue to use them to your advantage, I'm sorry, but after a while, human nature is I'm done. I get burnt out from helping somebody over and over, repeating the same things over and over. After a while, these kinds of people get tired of that, right? Like your time is valuable. Everybody's time is valuable. And so if you are using a resource, make sure you're putting in the effort. Make sure that you're learning what you're supposed to be learning, applying it, and moving forward with it. It isn't just something that you're doing to just get you by, right? You
Mhm.
really want to make sure that you're strategically thinking and planning for the future, whatever that is that you're learning from this mentor. And then be appreciative. Tell them thank you. And don't overly use them. Don't call them every day for hours on end because people don't have that kind of time. So I do think that's kind of important. The same thing with dinners. Don't invite your docs to 10 dinners in 10 weeks. Like, okay, first of all, they're going to say no. Second of all, they're going to be like, what's the point of me continuing to ever go to a dinner with you if it's just the same thing over? Make it special, right? If you're going to invite a physician to dinner, have all the resources you can there, the people that are going to impact them the most, or the peer-to-peer dinner, or even just an impactful dinner, learning what you can about them, locking it into your brain, and then using that for future resources and strengths and all that. Don't continue to hit the same thing over and over and over again because anybody gets tired of that.
I think it did a good job of explaining like how we use the word like draining. If you
Yeah.
drain your resources at the very beginning, like I said, if you reach out to somebody, human nature is they want to help you. And then if you actually take it a step further, continue to work through it, problem solve and push it, then they're going to want to help you again. But
Mhm.
if you keep going back to be fed every bit of information, Lisa is exactly right. They're just going to probably stop answering your phone calls because you've drained them. So you got to realize there's a sweet spot. Everybody is more than willing at first. And if you use it appropriately, it could be amazing. If you inappropriately exhaust somebody, you will completely drain that resource. And if you drain a resource, that's one less way to feed your business. And why would you want to do that?
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine if you killed off that part of your business? You might not
No.
get it back. That would really suck. So,
Uh-uh. No. But
so anyhow, I think this has been a really good episode. I like this for so many different reasons, maybe because I'm a resource hog, but I really think that taking advantage of what the company can offer, what you can offer your customers is so important. And I think if you're struggling with this and you're like, am I a drainer? Am I a gainer? What am I? Really, really think about like, how are you using these resources? Are you using them to the best of your ability? Are you taking advantage of them and using them positively, right? And not taking advantage of the person or the thing that's like, after a while, going to be like, never mind, I can't keep giving to you. Are you strategic in the way that you're using your resources? Are you being smart? Are you saying this resource applies to this customer and that resource applies to that customer? I think those two things are really important. I'm sure there's others as well.
you're just nailing it today, Lisa. Strategic leverage, that should have been our
Sorry.
secret. I think like if you're sitting here saying, okay, how do I write this down? Number one, I want you to think plan first. Like I said, another quarter about to come up. Know exactly what you need help with, like identify it and know how to ask specifically instead of dumping a whole sentence of, well, this problem, like just pinpoint what you need, ask and go. So, number one, plan, just like Lisa said, leverage your resources and don't waste time asking all this unnecessary info. But I think we talk about this a lot. If you document what works, think about that. Then you
Mm.
can reuse it. When you know what's good, like put it down the line so you don't forget. So document and reuse. And when you turn a resource, I'll say this is like the fourth big tip to being a resource hog, is the more strategic you are, the more people will be willing to give you. Okay, Lisa, clearly you were successful when you actually had to be shut down because you hogged all the resources, but
Yeah.
it worked. Here you were president's winner year after year, and you're still using resources, but now somebody else needs to squeeze in that time.
Yeah.
So I think a good way to kind of maybe do a mindset is to think that resources really aren't something you consume all the time. Think of them as ways to accelerate your success.
Ooh,
Utilize
I like that.
resources, don't just consume them.
I love that. And I was just like, oh God, I just lost my train of thought. I was
Oh,
about
darn
to say
it.
something.
I was
But
I was just
oh, I
tagging
know what
on
it
you.
was.
All right, go.
I will say one last thing. When you do use your resources wisely and strategically, and yes, you use a lot of resources, but then your company sees the payoff, you see the payoff, you have the sales numbers to prove it. they're not going to stop giving you resources. I mean, my manager may have said, "Hey, I got to kind of like calm down a little bit," but the truth is they're like, "We put them out there for you to use them. Lisa's using them. We're going to keep feeding her," right? So I think when you do it appropriately in the right fashion, companies will continue to give them to you. Customers will continue to give them to you. Like your story about your customer remembering the dinner years later. Like when you do it in the right way with the right reasons and strategically think about it, sky's the limit. I mean, they're going to continue to pay themselves off and your sales are going to continue to grow.
And at the very beginning, I said, let me just paint this picture of two different reps hired on the same day. So I'm going to ask you, here's one of the reps. This person is unprepared. This person is becoming annoying to a lot of people in the company. Performance is not high at all. Which one is that one? That person? Is that the resource drain or resource hog? You answer. Next question. The other rep, strategic, confident, capable, somebody that brings a lot of value. They're successful. They're building momentum. They're well respected. They've got a high ROI. Which one do you think that one is? Clearly, everybody gets 100. That's a resource hog. And we want you all to be able to do this and really know that your credibility grows, your confidence grows, and your business grows. So we want you all to be a resource hog because you're probably sitting here saying, I'm doing the right things, but maybe you forgot to tap into your resources. So I'm going to leave you with a call to action for today. Whether you're brand new and learning what resources you have, or you've been here 10 plus years and you forget what resources you have, your job this week is to have a piece of paper and make a list and find out all the resources that are available to you within your company, mentoring, outside training, etc. Make a plan and execute.